Hey guys, I wanted to quickly share about a cool way you can support the show. Travel content creating and podcasting is so fun. But as you travel lovers know, traveling can get expensive. While I may receive trades from time to time, the flights, the behind the scenes hours filming, editing, recording, and sharing are often unseen and unpaid. There is this super cool website called buymeacoffee.com that was created specifically as a way to support creators like me. Buying Me a Coffee is a quick and simple way to show your support for the Trip Tales podcast. And Lord knows this busy Mama 3 could use a coffee to keep me recording and sharing, and maybe help with the grocery bill as well. I'll also give a special shout out by name to anyone who buys me a coffee in the following week's episode. So if you love Trip Tales, I'll put the link in the show notes, or you can get there by visiting buymeacoffee.com/Kelsey Graves. Thank you for considering supporting the show. Welcome to the Trip Tales podcast with me, Kelsey Graves. Let's jump into a new episode exploring a vacation destination that you'll want all the details about. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 12 of Trip Tales. Today we are going to be talking about a couple's getaway to the swanky One Hotel in South Beach, Miami. But first, I have to thank last week's buymeacoffee.com supporters. A huge thank you to Faith Mayfield for buying me a coffee and writing, "Loved my first Trip Tales podcast on Disney cruises. I learned so much and it made me even more excited for our planned cruise in the fall. Hoping for an episode 2. Well, Faith, you are in luck because we have a Disney cruise episode all about a listener's voyage on the new Disney Wish ship coming up this summer. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for the kind words and the support. I hope you and your family have the absolute best time on your Disney cruise. And then thanks to Instagram user Sold by Tiffany B, who writes, "Love your content, Kelsey. I appreciate the deep insight you give into destinations and the pros and cons of where to stay. So helpful. Looking forward to speaking to you soon about Wild Dunes." So yes, again, stay tuned for a fun episode coming soon about the family-friendly Wild Dunes Resort on Isle of Palm in South Carolina. Thank you so much for buying me a coffee, Tiffany. A quick reminder that every week I read the names of people who supported the show through my buymeacoffee.com link, which is in the show notes. And this is a great time to remind you that if you haven't already subscribed to Trip Tales wherever you listen to podcasts, make sure you do so that you don't miss any upcoming awesome vacation destinations that you'll definitely want to hear about. Our next 3 episodes include a family trip to Montana, a couple's trip to Costa Rica, and a fun episode with myself and my sister all about tips for flying with babies and toddlers. That one should be fun. But today we're not talking about babies. We are talking about a much needed parents getaway. So let's head to South Beach. Today I am joined by my guest, Cam, who has taken a few trips to South Beach with her husband and friends. Welcome, Cam. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here.
Before we jump into all the details about the One Hotel in South Beach, let's do a little rapid fire get to know you. So tell everyone where you live, about your family, and what you do.
All right. I live in Nashville. I feel like I'm one of the few who was born and raised here. Anytime I'm in an Uber ride or downtown, a waiter will ask where we're from. Like, I'm actually was born and raised here. My husband can say the same, and that usually starts an interesting conversation. So born and raised in Nashville. I am the director of marketing at an orthodontic office in Nashville. Shout out to Avenue South Orthodontics.
It's like the best orthodontist in Nashville,
well,
to be honest.
Thank you. It's kind of a bougie spa-like experience, but it feels accessible to kids, but also adults, not overstimulating. Because sometimes those orthodontic experiences can be a little wild with all the kid stuff. So we have a great time down there. So I've been doing that for, I've been with ASO for 5 years. And before that, I was an event planner and at a large church. So it looked a little different than your classic event planner. But yeah, that's what I've done. And then my family, I have a 16-month-old little girl named Mila. And she's just getting so fun and runs around like crazy now and is getting her own little spicy attitude. I guess we're preparing for the twos coming up, which the terrific twos. It's going to be great.
Yes,
Um,
terrific
and
twos.
my
The threes are harder than the twos. So just
I
enjoy the
also heard
twos
that
because the threes
yesterday.
get real
Yeah.
crazy.
And then my husband Kobe, we have been married for 5 years. So that's what took us to South Beach was our 5 year anniversary. We knew that we loved South Beach. And we didn't, it was our first trip away from our little girl. So we didn't want to go too terribly far or for a huge long trip. So
Okay, so let's start by talking about what got you interested in visiting Miami and South Beach in the first place. There are a lot of areas of Florida to visit, so why South Beach?
I'm a pop culture and TV reality buff. And so there are just many times that Miami is mentioned. Vanderpump Rules, there's a lot that happens in Miami on their trips and things. I'm a Vanderpump Rules fan. But I think I learned about it watching the Kardashians. Long ago, they had some spinoff seasons there in Miami. And so I just heard about it and I can't remember. My husband and I were wanting to get away. Our first trip there was just a fall trip. And so we looked into places that were still warm in the fall and were kind of a quick flight from Nashville. And so I was interested in Miami due to my love of pop culture and reality TV.
There's no shame in a reality TV game. I love reality TV too, and I am like a Kardashians lover. I feel like
Me
it
as
started to
well.
wane a little bit like just this year, but I feel like people are either Real Housewives or Kardashian lovers. And for some reason, I fell into the Kardashian camp. And
Yeah,
I
me as
know that a
well.
lot of it is scripted, but I love all the banter between the sisters. I love seeing all the places they go. Like I have
Hmm.
watched it all the way through. I still watch it on Hulu.
Yes.
But it is starting to feel even more and more scripted. But I'm like, hey, you go, girls. You're all like billionaires. So
I think it was the year I was planning our wedding. I just needed like feel like reality TV reminds me that I don't I don't have drama in my life.
yes, it
So
makes you feel normal. You're like, oh, we're good.
yes. And so I decided to take the journey of binging it, watching it from season one with all the spinoffs all the way through. And that was such a fun journey. But I've come to feel like they're my family. And
When
so
got really into it was when I decided to start pumping. So I've had 3 kids and nursing was a whole journey
yes.
and hard for me. And so I was like a dedicated pumper. I was like, I'm going to pump every single night, but it's like so exhausting and time consuming and uncomfortable. So I gave myself the treat of watching reality TV. So I
Yes.
still remember I would just watch reality TV and be like, I can watch this and pump and I can survive this stage of life.
It's funny you mentioned that because that's how I got into Vanderpump Rules. Scandal had just broke like a month after I had Mila. And so my hairdresser told me that I should get into it because she also loves reality TV. So I started from the beginning. And when I would pump that like midnight session, it was like my favorite time because nobody was there to ask me for things or Mila didn't need anything. She was asleep. And so I'd just turn on my tiny little phone and put my headphones in and watch Vanderpump Rules. So I I appreciate that.
It's a nice escape.
Yes.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you about South Beach because you've been a handful of times recently, and I've been a few times, and I actually lived there, which I'm going to tell you
Oh my
about.
gosh.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I went in November 2020 with my husband Joe and
Yes.
another couple, which was a weird time to go because so much was closed due to COVID. We
Yes.
had actually booked the W because it's one of the oceanfront hotels where every single room comes with a balcony, and my husband Joe loves to have coffee on a balcony in the morning if you're like on vacation. So we had booked it, but then the entire hotel closed because of the pandemic. Even though we were going in November 2020, it was just, we were actually looking up our hotel reservations last night to like get prepared for this podcast. And we were laughing so hard because his subject line of the email said, your W Hotel South Beach reservation has been canceled in all caps.
Oh.
And I can't even imagine what we were in the same boat, like trying to get away from the kids. And we were like, oh no. But luckily they put us into the Ritz, which is another Marriott hotel, which was also lovely. It's a little like large in the sense where it just feels kind of like cavernous, not kind of that boutique-y, cool designed hotel feel, but it was still
Right.
fine. We didn't complain. And then my husband and I went back in June 2018 for a couple's getaway. We stayed at the Shelbourne South Beach that time, which was
That
fine.
is right next to the Nautilus where I stayed the first time.
Yeah, so that one's fine. I wouldn't recommend because the rooms are so small. It's kind of awkward, or maybe we just booked a super small room, but it was nice because it was on the strip still, but it was very small. And then, fun fact, I actually lived on South Beach back in 2006, right after college, for a program called the Miami Ad School. I had graduated with a marketing and journalism major, and somehow I convinced my dad that I really needed just one more program that happened to be in South Beach to get that first good advertising job. So I lived in a high rise condo at the intersection of Lincoln and Collins for 3 months.
Whoa.
That's right next to the Lowe's Hotel. I would run the beach every day. Like I was thinking back, like my dad was probably like, "You are so annoying, but please just get a job someday." And I did. And now look, it's come full circle. I'm talking about it on my travel podcast.
Full circle. That's incredible.
But let's move on to when you visited. So I think you've been 3 times,
Yes.
twice with your husband and once with friends.
Yes. Friends, coworkers. Yes.
Okay.
But like it was a girl group plus the doctor, Dr. Foltz, who is actually my brother. So it was fun to have like a little piece of family there. And then I think there was like 6 girls with us.
So the first time you went, you stayed at the Nautilus. Is that right?
I did. And at the time, it was the Nautilus by Arlo. I was just looking up, doing a little research before we spoke, and it looks like it's been sold. It's now the Nautilus Sonesta, I believe my notes say.
I saw that as well.
And so we really enjoyed, I mean, as far as a small boutique hotel goes, it's obvious that it's renovated like most of the boutique hotels on the strip there. It looks like the character that it has on the outside, but the inside's been renovated. It smells lovely. All the hotels in Miami, I don't know, or South Beach, they all have their own like beautiful signature smell. So I remember asking if they had like a candle or something, but that was something I remembered about the Nautilus, and also the One Hotel. It smells incredible. But we enjoyed our stay, but it was definitely, staying at the One was a huge step up, and we can talk about that later on. But we enjoyed the Nautilus well enough. It had a nice pool and had one little restaurant that wasn't great, but it wasn't bad.
Moving is right up there with death and divorce and the stress Olympics. But fear not. Turn that box of woes into a crate of woes with moving tips in the Life Beyond Boxes podcast with Premium Q Moving. Dive into the world of hassle-free moves, learn tips and tricks to save on cash and your sanity. Say goodbye to those moving meltdowns and hello to the smooth sailings. Or should we say smooth movings? Tune into Life Beyond Boxes with Premium Q Moving on lifebeyondboxes.com or find us on your favorite podcast platform. And with us, unpack the secrets to a stress-free move.
Yeah, it's good for people to know. I looked it up. It looks like right now, like a few months out, rooms are only $157 a night. So as far as like try to get away quickly for not breaking the bank, it seems like it would be a place that there's a lot of those boutique hotels down there, which is great. Okay, but let's back up to just the vibe of Miami and South Beach. So you've been a few times. So I'm sure a lot of people have been there or seen it on reality TV, like we talked about. But when you first pull up in your Uber or whatever, what is the vibe of like South Beach, the strip, when you start arriving and you pull up to the hotels?
Okay, so palm trees put me in a mood. So first of all, you see the palm trees, which just, that part makes me feel relaxed. All around you, it feels, there's like a sense of like flashiness, which if you like reality TV is kind of fun. I understand it's an acquired taste, not for everybody, but you see these beautiful, fancy, modern cars, the fashion all around you. That's one of the things I love about Miami is you can wear whatever you'd like to and feel as sexy as you'd like to. And I feel like every mom, every woman really deserves that. But I feel like when you're in the trenches of motherhood, it feels nice to just pack your skimpy swimsuits if you'd like, and just take them out for a spin, you know?
I always feel so pretty in Miami.
Yes.
Like, I feel like everybody's just living their best
Yes.
life and wearing whatever they want, regardless of whatever body they have. And everybody feels so awesome about themselves
Absolutely.
it just like translates. And you're like, I feel awesome too.
I'm so
like you
glad
said,
that
you can wear
translates
whatever
for
you
'cause
want.
That's one of the things I wrote in my notes is like,
Yes. You just feel
it's
beautiful.
a sexy town, and everyone is so diverse, and there's so much culture there that it gets you out of your, I don't know, out of my little Nashville bubble. And I
Yes.
love the energy. So yes, when I'm pulling up in my Uber, I'm seeing the palm trees. I'm seeing the architecture is weird and wacky. I believe you probably did research on this. Is it Art Deco? Is what's all around in
Yes, Art
mid-century?
Deco. It's a very cool, different look than the rest of
Yes.
Florida.
And so I really appreciate, I don't always know the terminology, but I really appreciate an aesthetic and a vibe. And so I love that everything in Miami on that strip in South Beach looks a very certain kind of retro pop art way.
Yes, exactly.
So those are the vibes I get. Sexy, I think, comes to mind.
I feel like when I pull up, you're like immediately on vacation. You're just like everybody, it's just like it's kind of like Vegas never sleeps, New York City never sleeps. South Beach is just always on
Hmm.
vacation. Everybody is just there to relax, to have fun, to look beautiful. So it's easy to get into vacation mode like
Hmm.
immediately. Because that was one of the hardest things traveling away from our kids is number one, everybody has a different feeling about it. Like some parents are like, love you, need a break,
Hmm.
goodbye. And for others, it's like really hard and emotional. And it's
Yeah.
like a very challenging thing to leave. I don't know how you guys felt about leaving Mila for the
It
first
was
time.
it was emotional. I feel like I did a pretty good job. I had my tears at the airport for maybe like a minute and a half, and then I was able to be like, "We need this. We need some time away," and was able to enjoy it. She did get very sick,
Oh,
um,
shoot. That stinks.
but we were able to stay the whole time. Grandparents were incredible, and taking really good care of her. But yes, I agree. When you pull up in that Uber and you leave like the airport stress behind and all that, it's the visual of Miami does just allow you to be like, we're here, we
Yes.
are relaxing,
And it's
we
so
are
important
sexy.
as a couple too. We've realized like I love travel, not just because, oh, traveling's fun and luxurious or whatever, but like when Joe and I can get away alone, it's like, oh, hello. Nice to see you again,
Hmm.
husband. Because life
Yes.
is just so busy and we get like stuck in our hamster wheels. And so the only way for us to like reconnect is to literally disconnect from our life at home. And once you finally get on that plane and out of town, like you said, even your daughter got sick and that totally stinks. But you're like, if you had been home, you guys would have barely even talked because you'd be caring for your sick little child. So, anyhow, it is
Yeah.
nice to get away and reconnect. So, okay, the fabulous One Hotel. So let's talk
Ooh.
about this hotel. It is an actual vibe. It's a bit pricier than the Nautilus that we were talking about. It's closer to like
Yes.
$500 a night or so, but it is a splurge. It is worth it. It is that hotel that's just going to make you feel amazing. So talk about the lobby when you get inside, like kind of what it looks like in the One Hotel.
Oh my goodness. Okay. The smell is amazing. They do sell candles. They are pricey, but worth it. There's also,
You know, there's a company called Hotel Lobby that sells hotel candles.
I have seen in my searches for those
You've
candles,
probably been
I've
served
seen,
it on Instagram.
and I'm going to be served it
You're going
more.
to now. Yeah.
There is a knockoff Amazon like oil that you can diffuse that smells exactly like the One Hotel. I can send you the link if you want it. But
Let's put it in the show
yes,
notes. Let's put it in
I'll
the
see if
show
I can
notes.
find that
Okay.
for you for the show notes.
Okay.
So the smell is beautiful and peaceful. I would say Miami can be described as a party town, but when you walk into the One Hotel, they have a focus on the earth and nature, and they do a lot of sustainable practices there, and so nature is part of like their decor there. So there's a lot of neutrals. The ceilings are really high, but it didn't feel ominous or like kind of like you were talking about getting lost in the other hotel that you were at. It still feels like warm and cozy. There's a coffee shop right there in the front called Neighbors Coffee, and so you can smell that as well. That's just like so yummy. Everything is beautiful and ambiance and lots of greenery.
Yes, I was gonna say, I feel like one thing about the One hotels everywhere is they're like so lush. They like feel like alive because there's so much plants and greenery. Joe and I, both times that we've been to Miami, had to hit up the One Hotel for a drink. And I was looking at it again last night online, and it's just like such a clean, refreshing lobby with like so much greenery. I just feel like
Yes.
you feel like you're like in a spa.
Even all their employees, now that I'm calling back, they all wear white. So like
Yeah,
everything
it's
just
very
feels like
clean.
fresh and open and clean. And to me, that's kind of worth. I remember trying to convince Kobe while we were booking this one, because I had stayed at the one hotel with work for like a celebratory trip for meeting our goals one year. And I was trying to explain him to it, and he looked at the prices and was like, well, for this, we could go stay at an Airbnb, we get an oceanfront view. It's whatever, the room is this much bigger. And I was trying to I was like, but then, I mean, if you have your Airbnb, you have to schedule your whole day, figure out where you're going, where you want to walk to. I was like, with the one hotel, first of all, just the feeling of relaxation in the lobby, in the hallways, in the elevator, even everything just feels peaceful and beautiful. To me, an aesthetic person, that goes like a really long way. But also everything is just right there. There's 3 pools. There's a beautiful beach access, which isn't true of all the hotels down the way. Some of the beach areas aren't as pretty. And so everything's just right there. There's a huge gym, which is very important to my husband when he works out. He's got a lot of energy, needs to work that out before we do anything that day. So he came around after the trip. He was like, I see what the investment was about. We didn't have to schedule a whole bunch. Everything was right there. We went out to dinner each night, but lunches were there. It was awesome.
Well, and you guys were trying to get away and take a break. And it's like at a VRBO, love a VRBO, especially for a family trip, because you can put the kids to bed early. You can make dinner, but you're like, I don't want to make dinner. I don't want, like, you want to order at the poolside.
Yes.
So I feel like a hotel is great for a couple's getaway because you get all that service. You're like, I need someone to take care of me for a second.
Mm-hmm. You're very right with that.
This is kind of fun. Last time we were at the one hotel in Miami where we weren't staying there. We were just walking up for a drink. We saw the guy from Shark Tank. He's like a guest sometime, Rohan Oza. He has like made Bai water and Vita Coco, coconut water and pop chips. He's like a big consumer brand person.
Oh, wow.
And very wealthy. And he was there with like all these friends and girls. I think he recently got married. They had like drinks in their hands. They were like arriving. And Joe was like, that's Rohan Oza. And I looked and I'm like, that 100% is, because we watch Shark Tank like religiously. And I was like, okay, if he is here, then this place is super cool.
My eyes are always peeled because some of the cars that are parked out front could only be owned by people with way more money than I could dream. I guess people could rent those cars, but that would also be a very expensive rental.
Yeah. Didn't you guys rent a fun car? I thought I saw in your notes.
That was a fun thing that we did. But I've heard that Justin Bieber has stayed there. Like, I think it was just a few weeks before we were there the first time with the team. So you just have to keep your eyes peeled.
You just missed him. He
stays in the penthouse level.
Yeah. Hey, he's still probably at the bar and the pools and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about your room at the one hotel.
The room was way bigger and more spacious than it appeared to be online, from what I could gather.
That's a bonus.
Yes, it's simple. We did get upgraded. We booked a king room, and I believe because it was a little more affordable, we had booked the city view. But when we got there, they upgraded us to an ocean view because one was available. And I put a little note in there.
Pause. Yes. Okay. I am big on trying to get an upgrade too. So tell me your process and what you did, and then I'll tell you mine.
I think there was a place for notes, or maybe I called.
Or maybe both.
Yeah, I can't remember where it was because Kobe made the reservation, so I don't think I put it there. But I think it was when I called the hotel concierge to ask them about if I needed reservations for poolside sushi on the top roof or whatever. And I did. I was like, it's our 5-year anniversary. It's our first trip without our baby. I put that in our restaurant reservations as well, and that served us well with good seats and like the Claw, which was a wonderful experience for a restaurant and a view. They gave us a fun little thing at the end, of free dessert and all that. It said like happy anniversary. I do try and do that.
Working for an upgrade. So Joe will often do the online check. Like sometimes they'll text you and be like, your room's ready. You can check in online, like while you're like in your Uber or whatever. And I'm always like, no, do not check in, because that secures our room. So I like the idea of calling ahead to check on something else and then just mentioning that to put in your hotel notes. But what I'll always do is I'm always like, hi, we're here. And I'll always make some sort of comment like, "Whew, yeah, nice to be away from the kids," or so, just kind of drop a little something. And often they'll be like, just, typing on their computer, click, clack,
Hmm.
click, clack. And they're like, as long as you're really nice and you mention that you're there
Yes.
for something very special, often you will get an upgrade. So I'm always like, don't
Hmm.
accept the room through the text. You have to
No.
go and talk to someone in the
See how
lobby.
nice I am and how pleasant. Yes, I will
Yes.
say I studied hospitality and tourism in college. That was my major. And so one of my internships was, I mean, it was at a Courtyard Marriott in Nashville. It was not fancy, but the person behind that screen truthfully has a, quite a bit of power in that regard. They know where the open rooms are. They know where the loud, youth group is staying with all the screaming kids. They know which rooms are by the elevator. They know. So, like, even if you have something you need to complain about before you check in, you better be kind.
Yes. You've
Because
always got to be kind to these workers at the airport, at the hotels. Like when I see people belittling the people at the hotels or the
yeah,
airport, it just drives me crazy. I'm
for
like, they
more
can't
reasons than an
control all this
upgrade. And I
stuff.
know you mean that too, but they, I
Yes.
mean, a lot of the work that they do is thankless. And so I feel super strongly about treating your waiters well and your bartenders and anyone in the hospitality industry. It's a grind. But then the second layer of that, when you check in, they don't have a whole bunch of power for the whole place, but for getting you into that right room for you, really being kind can go a long way.
I agree. Okay, so you guys get surprised by getting an upgrade to an ocean view, that's a huge upgrade. I mean,
Yes.
that changes everything about the room. I love a good view.
Yeah. It was really nice. It wasn't right on front of the ocean, but we could sit. So when you walk into the room, the bathroom's there on your left. It's spacious. There is like a window into the bathroom right over the tub. And so in terms of privacy for like the restroom, there's like a curtain you can pull over the window, but that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I've been in hotels like that before too, where you're kind of like, okay, I still want to go to the bathroom by myself. Like, love my husband, but
We had ways to work, around those
yeah.
things, but it did, when it's open, it makes it feel so open and big. And then we had a king size bed there on like a cool platform that was built of wood, and everything looks really natural and fresh and naturey. And then beyond that little platform that's built, there's like a built-in nightstand and a place that I found really helpful to set a bunch of my things. It was like just a long skinny table. And then on the other side of that was this huge sectional that was L-shaped, and it had like,
Wow.
yes. And then along the whole side of the wall to the right was like one big long table that the TV was propped above. And then it turns into a desk on the other side. So there was a place to work. But Kobe and I both, when we opened, I believe that room was supposed to be the same size as the city view. When we opened the door, we're like, whoa, this is big. But the sectional, Kobe and I were joking. I was like, we could have like 10 friends in here for a drink if we were staying with other couples. Like we could all sit in here, look at the ocean, like, and have a drink before we head out for dinner. There's enough room on this sectional.
That's so
So
fun. You had like
yeah,
space to spread out.
yes.
That's great to know about the one hotel.
Hmm.
Okay, so take us through like a typical day at the one hotel for you guys. What would you do in the mornings? What will your day kind of look like?
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about specifics like restaurants later.
Okay. Kobe and I both love to move our bodies before we get into like the tourist part or the relaxing part. And that's for me, part of a vacation is having time to exercise and move. It makes me feel better throughout the day, especially if I'm just lounging the rest of the day. So we love that about the one hotel. They have a gym called Anatomy, which I believe is like a chain of gyms there in Miami, because we saw another one down the street. But it's huge. It has everything you could need. There must have been 40 people down there working out, and it didn't feel crammed. It was large.
Wow,
And when you
that's
walk,
amazing.
yes, when you walk into like check in or whatever, it looks like a little spa, and they have little towels there. I think like eucalyptus towels or something. You can sign up for a class. The first time I stayed there, I did a yoga class, and that was complimentary. I believe you could do a private Pilates session on a reformer. I do believe that is an additional charge. But so we would start our morning going down there. and doing a workout separately just to move our bodies and feel better.
And it sounds like the gym felt like an experience in and of itself, like with the eucalyptus towels and the
Yes,
vibe. Like it's not just like, a corner gym in a Hampton Inn or whatever. This is like a whole
exactly.
experience and like fun and feels like vacation.
Yes. All sorts of machines, free weights, so much cardio equipment. There's an open gym with some, or like an open area where they were having like some sort of boxing class. And so the energy of that is kind of fun to see everybody. I love people watching. That's a very fun part of vacation for me. So to be able to watch people do whatever they wanted to do on vacation to work out was fun. So we would do that. And then one morning we went to like adjoining to the gym is a little restaurant called, man, I cannot remember the name of this place, but it's just, you walk out the door there and they have smoothies. They have, I don't know if they have coffee. I got a smoothie there when I stayed there the first time, and I liked,
Like a little grab and go bar.
yeah, I liked the workout and the smoothie. That felt fun. But Kobe and I, every morning after we would work out, we would go down to Neighbors Coffee there, and they have hard-boiled eggs. They have, which are really delicious. It comes with a little aioli, paprika aioli, which I tried to look up the recipe for and made some at home. It wasn't quite as good, but it was very good with the hard-boiled eggs. And we love a healthy choice at a place like that. And so you can do that. You can get salmon with your bagel, which Kobe loves some protein. But what we found out was Habitat is like the fancy restaurant for breakfast and maybe lunch down in the lobby. And on the same floor is that Neighbors Coffee, and it's right there in the lobby. But we believe that they share the same kitchen because a lot of the items that you could grab and go were very similar or identical to the items on the menu, but they're about half the price.
Yeah, because I think when I looked it up, Habitat, it's like the main restaurant in the hotel lobby. Like every hotel has the main restaurant, and it is like a breakfast buffet. So, which is always lovely and has tons of stuff, but it's like whatever, $40 a person, or who knows how much a
Crazy.
person.
Yeah.
Sounds like you guys could get similar things just at the walk-up spot.
So you just walk up. I would always get a bagel, my hard-boiled egg, and their lattes are so good. So I would get a latte, and then we would go just sit wherever we wanted to. There's a beautiful sitting area like out at front where the cars come in, valet and all that, that has like a bunch of greenery. And so I think we sat there 2 mornings in a row. And then one morning when I stayed there before, I took my stuff out to the pool. It was before like any families or anything were out there. And I just sat on a chair, and the pool overlooks the ocean. And so I just ate my breakfast there. So nice. I would rather be doing that than sitting in a restaurant, honestly.
Yes, sounds like a dream.
Yes. So then we would go up to our room and just put on our swimsuits and just go pick a pool. There's 3 pools. I would say in South Beach, maybe not in every venue, but the pool life is greater than beach life. We wanted to do beach life just for, I think one afternoon we did it because the beach restaurant has some nachos that I remembered that I could not forget. And so once you cross a little boardwalk into the beach area, they have, maybe it's called the Sandbox. They have a special name for the kitchen there. I will say it was not speedy this time. The beach was packed. And so we did have to wait for my beloved nachos, but I did love them. They're on plantain chips, I believe. And I added chicken to it, and it was just as good as I remembered. So we did take ourselves out to the beach for that afternoon to get that and a mojito, and the people watching is superb there. People from all different walks of life and all different places with different cultural norms. And I enjoy seeing that. Again, it gets me out of my box. You can meet some really neat people. And I'm never afraid to talk to people while I'm around to try and learn their stories and stuff. So we had a nice time at the beach, and the people watching was upgraded. But I believe that pool life in South Beach is usually feels the fanciest and the most relaxing to me.
I feel like pool life is always better than beach life personally, but I love a pool where I could see the beach and like go walk the beach if I want to, but then come back to the pool.
Yes. Yes, and all 3 pools at the one hotel have beautiful views. They all have a bar, and all their cocktails are pricey, but they are very good. And so you can't go wrong with your pools. I believe the top pool on the rooftop is adults only. I don't like that people watching as much. I think it's fun to see the families around and stuff. But it is a little bit like you don't have the kids
It's
screaming
quieter.
That can sometimes happen. Yes. And so we looked out up there. They were like, "I'm so sorry, ma'am. We don't have any seats next to the pool, but we could put you over here." It was like the very corner spot with glass to my left and in front of me.
I've taken a picture in that corner before. It's like near the rooftop bar, right?
Yes. Yeah, but it's the very corner seat on the whole rooftop.
Yeah.
And so they were like, "Will this be okay?" I was like, "I think this will do."
Yeah. You're like overlooking all of South Beach, the ocean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we got to sit up there, and that's the adult only pool. There's also a wonderful sushi restaurant up there. Again, pricey. Everything in South Beach really is. But that was one thing Kobe and I looked for, because I'd been there several times and we found kind of our favorite restaurants, but we wanted to add in like a beautiful ocean view. There's not a lot of beautiful ocean views with dinner, based on our research, like in the South Beach, Miami area. I think it's because of the boardwalk situation. There's the hotels, there's the boardwalk, there's the beach, and the beach is kind of wide. And so it's hard to get that like ocean view. But that was our first meal when we got there. When we checked in, we went upstairs and had sushi and some appetizers like on the rooftop to see you can see everything. You can see the ocean, all of the South Beach Strip. It's really fun.
I think it's called, is it Water, WATR, all capital? I looked it up last night and it looked gorgeous. Just like so swanky,
pretty.
so cool, such a view. Sushi. I'm like, oh my gosh, transport me there.
Oh, and something I didn't mention that your question right now just reminded me of, or your comment. When you pull up into Miami, you're asking about that Uber ride. One of the things I love about Miami is the music. There's live DJs everywhere. Again, that's not for everyone, but I listen to SoundCloud, which is like a DJ platform, more than I listen to like Spotify. So for me, a live DJ everywhere is like so great. And it's not if you're going downtown on Broadway in Nashville, it's not that kind of DJ. It's like ambient Latin music mixed in, like it's calming, it's soothing. I actually work and study to it, which is interesting. But when we were in our Uber, it began there. That music.
I love it.
It was like a SoundCloud mix, and I was like, I'm here. The vibe is here.
Yes, I feel like every good pool, or probably every pool on South Beach, has a DJ that starts at some point and goes until like well past midnight or whatever. But that is seriously one of the best parts, is like every pool is a vibe. It's a party. They've got a DJ going. Like that's one of our favorite things to do in the evenings, is to just hotel hop, and we'll just like walk the strip and go into every hotel, act like we're staying there, walk around, look at the lobby, go get a drink at their bar, check out their DJ situation, and then leave and go to the next one and just feel so fancy.
We did that our first time in Miami, and we stumbled into a private wedding.
Oh, I love it. You're like, excuse us. Also, is there an open bar?
Toby was like, let's stay. I was like, we are leaving right now. He was like, how are they going to know?
They probably wouldn't.
We're on the other side of the family. That's, they don't ask questions. They're like, that must
the
be
random cousin.
Yeah. And I was like, we're leaving right now. But yes, we also like to go to the different pools. But I have not been to Vegas. I've seen it on the TV countless
all your
times.
reality shows.
And all my reality shows. But I would imagine, I hear that a Vegas pool party can get like, kind of wild. This feels to me different. Like I said, it's like the calming, soothing, like Latin music mixed.
It's like an elevated vibe, not necessarily a party vibe, which there are some party vibes in Miami. Like I saw it when I was living there, but some of these nicer hotels have an elevated vibe. So it's still fun, relaxing DJ, but it's not like, messy party situation.
Yeah. And then the pool on I guess like the main level is the biggest one. It's got a lot of families out there. Great food. I believe I had the fish tacos and they were so good.
Just like at your pool chair, the server coming around. Yeah.
They have servers coming around. And then there's also a smaller pool. It's like a lap pool, but still like fancy and fun. Just like a few steps down from the main one. And you also have a oceanfront view there. So you've got 3 pools to choose from. You've got the beach situation. And then there's restaurants at all those places. So it was important to us to try all the different restaurants at all the different pools the 3 days we were there.
So the food at the one overall, you'd say was good?
Really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, going out to dinner is one of the best parts of life in Miami. The food is incredible in Miami, and you sent through some of your favorites, so let's talk about them. I have never been to, do you say it Papi Steak? P-A-P-I?
That's how we say it. I'm not sure if we are saying it the right way, but we call it Papi Steak. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about Papi Steak.
We found Papi Steak on Instagram. It's like part of what they do. Okay. Part of what they do is like a bottle service experience, like a Vegas or Miami bottle service experience for steaks. So the food is so good. I'll explain more. The food is
Okay, I'm
the
like,
food
what?
is very, very good. Anything you order on the menu, delicious, thoughtful, beautiful. It's a small place. I wouldn't venture to guess how many it seats, but it feels small and cozy.
Is it like an old school steakhouse vibe or like a funky Miami vibe?
Funky Miami, for sure. There's no windows. You like step down into this basement and you're like transported into this like swanky velvet seat, loud wallpaper. There's a live,
like a lounge.
Yes, there's a loud DJ, or not loud, sorry, a live DJ in there that is more party, less of the soothing. So it's like a mix between, not for everyone, but it's a mix between like a club and dinner. All the waiters have on like double-breasted, like very fancy jackets and
like tux type.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes they're even wearing white gloves. I couldn't figure out when they were wearing gloves and when they weren't. It feels super fancy. People who've been there, if you look through their Instagram, Scott Disick has been there. The first time I went, I've been there 3 times. The first time I went, my husband was told that Drake was there the night before.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. But I will say, of all the things on the menu, like truthfully, the prices are comparable to like King Prime in Nashville or Bourbon Steak. Like it's Nashville expensive, but it didn't feel Miami expensive. I believe.
Yeah, it wasn't like outrageous.
I believe the most affordable cocktails we had were at Papi Steak. But what you have at Papi Steak, there's something called the beef case, and it is $1,000. I remember asking, they were telling us about the specials the first time we were there. And she's like, and of course you have the beef case, which is all over their Instagram. And I was like, just out of curiosity, it may have been listed on the menu, but I was like, but how much is a beef case? She was like, $1,000, 1,000 USD.
And what is it? What is the beef case that's $1,000?
It is a Wagyu tomahawk ribeye steak. So like.
Oh, steak. I thought you were saying case, like CASE.
It is a beef case. So they bring it in a briefcase, like a metal briefcase. And this is the bottle service thing I'm talking about. So the first time we went, Kobe and I went, we kind of went on a whim. We didn't have a reservation until like the day of. We snagged like a 5 o'clock reservation. The place was not packed yet. And even so, we still had a great time. But we saw a beef case happen like across the restaurant. So we didn't get like the full vibe. And then we looked at it on Instagram. And we're like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. So the whole team comes out.
So it's like a briefcase, but it's a beef case. Okay, so
the
they all come out.
The whole team comes out. And we didn't realize this the second time I went with my brother and his wife on our trip. We got to see the whole thing. Because I think the first beef case I saw was in a private room in the back. But when it happens in the main room, which is most of them, the DJ like does a thing. Like the lights flicker and the laser beams like start going off. And there's like a little siren. And you're like, oh my gosh, what's like, is this about to start a concert? Or and then the whole team drops like a significant beat, like a very cool song that's happening right now. And the whole team comes out and they have like this closed briefcase and they're all like kind of chanting. There's fog everywhere. And it's crazy. And towards the end, they like open up the beef case and someone has, they brand it like in front of you and it like smokes.
Oh,
crazy.
Wow.
And the whole team's cheering and wearing white gloves. And then they take it away and cook it and then bring it back to you.
So they bring it out raw. branded. You get to see
Yep.
your steak that they're
hmm
about to cook and they bring it
Yes.
back to you. And it's some super fancy Wagyu beef
Tomahawk, ribeye.
situation.
Yes.
Tomahawk. I never really know what Wagyu, tomahawk, all the
Who
things
knows?
mean, but I'm
Yeah.
like,
It
great.
sounds
It's
amazing.
always so expensive. But
Yes.
$1,000 is a lot to throw down on a meal that you're going to poop
This
out.
is true. This is true. So what I would recommend, so like I said, the first time we went was like a Wednesday, 5 o'clock. There was one in the back. We're like, that seems cool. We'll watch it on Instagram. The second time, knowing that that was what happens when you're there, because we saw it on Instagram, but we thought it was for like celebrities.
Yeah.
So the second time I went, we booked intentionally on a Friday, I believe at like 7:30, because we still wanted to be in bed at a decent time. But I knew that 7:30, 8 o'clock, things start to kind of liven up. And so we got to see 2 beef cases. And all the while, it's not all about that. The food really is. It's the best. Kobe and I have both agreed it's the best steak we've had. He's been there twice. I've been there 3 times. I went there when I was very early pregnant, and I had to get a medium well cook on my ribeye, which I usually order mine medium rare. And so that was a hard order for me, and it was still delicious.
Okay, what do you guys normally order? Tell me some of your
So
orders
the
there. What
sides
have you had?
are family style, but then you order your steak. So I got the ribeye, Kobe gets the filet. I can remember the mashed potatoes always being really great. They have a corn there that's really good. I believe their sides are seasonal, because the first time I remember and have pictures of these like beautiful caramelized carrots. And they didn't have them while we were there this time, but we went in the fall the first time. We got the prawns as an appetizer this time. Really good. I don't believe Kobe had ever had prawns in this particular way that they cooked them, but they brought them out in a very, like, it had like a smoke situation. It was a show. And they were good. And then they have a dessert there. They have a dessert that's also $1,000, 1,000 USD. We did not order that. We ordered the regular dessert, and it was very good.
The $16 dessert.
Yes. So just their food is elevated steakhouse. There's, other than the beef case, the prices seem reasonable for the experience that you're getting.
So it sounds like a fun place to go if you love steak and you love the steakhouse type menu and you
Yes.
want a fun show and you're
Yes.
hoping to see a beef case at some point. I have learned a lot about this restaurant,
You
Papi
need
Steak.
you need to go to their Instagram. But we found the funnest part of dinner for us that evening was trying to pick out who was going to order a beef case. And I was 3 for 3. We saw 3 beef cases
Cam.
while I was there, and I was like, that's a beef case table.
It's because you're a people watcher and a reality TV show watcher. You're like, I know the person that's trying to show off tonight, and they're ordering
Exactly.
it.
Yes.
I
So
love
that's Papi Steak, and we love it.
Okay, let's move on to Joe's Stone Crab, because I love this restaurant. Actually, the night that my husband Joe proposed to me in Chicago, he took me to Joe's Stone Crab in Chicago. So we have a very lovely tie to Joe's Stone Crab. Why are you laughing so hard?
It's very funny that you mentioned that, because this is the one place that Kobe really wanted to go while we were I picked most of the places because of the vibe and the ambiance, and he had seen this restaurant on a tourist show. I cannot remember the name of it.
Well, the Miami one is the original. So I feel like
okay. Yes, and I did not know there were multiple. And so I was like, babe, I got this. I'm going to book this for us, and I'm going to take care of it. We got there, and they could not find our reservations. And I was like,
shoot.
I was like, I got the email. Yeah, I was like, I got the email reservation yesterday, or like the confirmation. It said they're ready for us. And so we stepped in. The guy was like, I'll take care of you. I'll get you in. You know, I can squeeze you in. So I went back and looked at my email, and it was Chicago.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Like, for everyone listening, there are multiple Joe's Stone Crab locations. I went to one the night I was engaged in Chicago, but the original is in Miami. Thank you. It's been 16 years. But the original is in Miami, and it is like a it's a huge, amazing restaurant. So I'm sure they could squeeze you
Hmm.
in because there's just like so much going on.
It's
It's
a
almost like
machine.
it is. Yeah. It's almost kind of like, wait, am I going to like it? They're kind of whisking you this way and that way. And here's your table. And then the waiters are all,
Hmm.
but the food's incredible. The stone crab's incredible. And the key lime pie. I am not even a dessert person. I'm not even that big of a key lime pie person, but it
It's
is
really good.
so delicious. I like
Yeah.
dream about that key lime pie. If you go there, you have to order it.
Yes. And we went, and Kobe really wanted to go there because the first time we went to Miami, he really wanted to find stone crab. He loves seafood. He loves to try all the different seafoods that are, native to wherever we're eating because you can't get everything everywhere. So he's like, I need to find these stone crab claws. And I think this place was booked, which is why we didn't go. And then we found some little hole in the wall place, and it was delicious, but the stone crab claws were so expensive. I think it was like 60 for one, and you
At
just don't get a
where?
lot. I don't remember the name
Oh,
of
just
this
like a
place.
different restaurant. Okay.
Yes, and so we were delighted to find a way better bang for your buck at Joe's Stone Crab when we could get in this trip, because we booked far enough in advance in Chicago.
We're very far away, but they got you in, which is
They
awesome.
did, and it
Yes.
was really awesome. But it does feel a bit like a machine, but it doesn't take away from the like once we sat at our table, our waiter made a really great connection with us, talked about Nashville the whole time. Like, but I did have that thought when we walked in. I was like, is this gonna like, are we gonna feel like just a number the whole time?
Yeah. It's
Because they
not as,
line you up in like, hey, they call all these names and line you up, and you stand there at the door, and then waiters just come and like whisk you away. So it's a huge, I mean, they're pumping out some food.
yeah. Yeah. You definitely, like, if you want some delicious food, some delicious stone crab at a
Hmm.
reasonable price, delicious key lime pie, it's
Yes,
definitely worth making a reservation because it's like a famous spot, but you're not going to
totally.
get that like intimate
Hmm.
restaurant feel there.
Yes. The crab disc was delicious. I love a crab disc.
Mm-hmm.
And it has an older vibe, like a historical restaurant, because it's been there for years and years and years, family owned. So it doesn't have that like new Miami feel. It's like old Miami, but it was that in itself was a fun experience just to see something different from all the other places we booked.
Yeah. Okay. What was one of your other favorite dinners that you remember and is memorable to you?
I'll tell you the two, I'll be quick, but the two memorable ones of all the places I listed. I've been to, I do not know how to say this properly, I'm sure. It's Jaya, probably Jaya at the Satai. The
Yeah.
Satai Hotel is just a few down from the one hotel. I've been there all 3 times I've been to Miami. My friend told me to book it and did not tell me what was in store. So we just sat at our pretty little table, and there's like water in the middle of it, and it's like indoor, but the middle of it is open, if that makes sense, and it's huge.
Okay, I've been in here. I have
Yes.
been in here. I didn't remember it when you wrote it down, but in our little bar hopping crawl, we ended
Hmm.
up in the Satai Hotel in Jaya,
Hmm.
which it's like giant, like a giant indoor water feature pool
Dining
situation,
area,
and then
yes,
you're around the water.
yes.
Yes, we
Hmm.
sat there and ordered like a
And
drink and maybe a dessert or something. I can't
yes,
remember.
really good drinks there. And I didn't mention really great drinks at Papi. Those have been our favorite cocktails have been at Jaya and Papi. But yeah, so we were just sitting enjoying our dinner, and like this scarf fell down from the ceiling, and this lady came out and started doing scarf dancing, like very Miami. And then
Like
there was like
over
a
the
fire,
water?
just right next to the water. But
Okay.
there was one on either side because it's a really long pool. So there's a performer at one side and a performer at the other side. It didn't feel overwhelming. Like I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I can't eat because the place is so big. So it's like if you
Yeah.
want to enjoy and watch this live DJ with this scarf dancing hanging from the ceiling, wild. It was really fun. And then they had
So wait, were they like on aerial silks, like above? Were they like on aerial silks or on the ground with their scarves?
let's see, there's like little platforms at either end of the long pool in there. And then the scarf is like up high where the ceiling is. And so they're doing like aerial scarf dancing
Oh
from
my
the ceiling.
gosh.
Yes.
Yes, wow.
And then once their act is done, they do have like a fire dancer. Yeah, so that you don't get that
Lots of
anywhere else.
entertainment. What is the food like? I don't remember what Jaya's food
Yes,
situation
it's
is.
Asian inspired. So they
By the way,
have,
it's Jaya is this restaurant.
and it's at the hotel called the Satai, which I've heard the Kardashians have stayed at before. keep your eyes peeled.
Yes.
So it's Asian inspired menu. So they have some like rice bowls, and it's elevated. It's good. I had a delicious dessert. They brought it out for free for our anniversary, which was so
Oh,
kind.
sweet.
Again, work that anniversary, that couple's trip.
Yes. All the angles.
For me, the food wasn't the most memorable part of the experience. The cocktail was the standout for me. I got a gimlet. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
I love a gin gimlet. And yeah, the food is very good, but for me, it was just elevated, Asian inspired. There were some things that Kobe, I think there was a rice tuna thing that was like really, really good.
So maybe stop by for like a drink or an appetizer
Yes.
or a dessert, but don't like plan your whole evening around.
That's what we ended up doing this time because we had some other places we wanted to visit. We ended up booking it for a drink after Papi Steak.
And did you still book a
dessert.
reservation just to make sure you got in?
We did. It was a last minute thought. I believe we probably showed up at 8:30, but I was able to book a reservation on our Uber over. I was like, they have a free table.
Perfect.
Do you want to go in? They also have a bar that you can sit at that's not in the main atrium, where you can still kind of peep in and see what's happening. And you don't need a reservation for that. That bar can get super busy. Live DJ, fog machine, wind machine, a full vibe.
So much fog, so many fog machines in Miami.
And then the last place, I'll keep it short, Claw. We booked that because we were looking for an ocean view. And so that was
Claw is spelled Klaw.
It is, yes. It is. I thought I had written this down in my research. It's a rooftop bar at a historical women's hotel. And it is not in South Beach. It is in the Miami area, downtown Miami. It's just a few minutes from the art district where all the Miami designer stores are. So we decided to book a car with Turo. Have you done anything with Turo before?
Yes, we have used Turo once, and I'm actually considering using it again for a trip we have coming up. So we've only had one good experience, and so far people on the podcast have also had good. No, we've only booked it once and had one good experience.
Okay,
and other people on the podcast have had a good experience, but I'm still like, okay, is this okay to book a minivan because it seems way cheaper than the rental car, and I don't have to stand in a rental car line. So how was your experience with Turo?
It's our second experience with Turo. It's two great experiences. It's great because you can pick like the exact car that you're getting. So we've picked them in cities that called for very specific cars. So we did it in Denver when we wanted like a 4-wheel drive cool car. I love FJ Cruisers, and I'd never gotten to really ride in one. And so we booked one for that. And you knew exactly it's going to be a gray FJ Cruiser. It's going to look like this. So that was cool. And then Kobe booked us like a 2023 BMW convertible.
So fun.
Which was very Miami. And so we booked that to get into the city. And we did it just before sunset. So it was so beautiful to cross the bridge. And then did you find the name of the women?
I did. So it says, so this is in like the area that overlooks Key Biscayne, which is also a cool area of Miami. I know that a lot of the like Four Seasons and some of those hotels are over on this side in downtown Miami, which is also a cool place to stay. You're not going to be able to walk to all the South Beach stuff, but there's a lot of great restaurants and stuff. So it says that rustic meets luxury within the historic Miami Women's Club, which has been honored through a thoughtful restoration with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a stunning view of Biscayne Bay.
Yes.
So it's on the rooftop of this former women's club, Miami Women's Club.
Yes, and the view is gorgeous. We booked it intentionally at sunset. You can, when you reserve it, you can reserve like the main dining room, or you can reserve rooftop.
The rooftop.
The main dining room, or you can book the rooftop area.
So the rooftop has an abbreviated menu, or the whole thing?
Yes. The rooftop has an abbreviated
menu. So there's a
menu.
dining room and a rooftop. Okay.
But we were still able to we shared a ribeye. They like cut it into strips, and so it's a little bit more manageable to eat, like not as your main entree. It's more like appetizers and cocktails up there. So we went into that knowing like, hey, we might not get full on food. We did actually, because we ordered the ribeye to share and then got 3-4 different appetizers to split little seafood things.
Yeah, I was going to say claw makes me think seafood. So is it pretty mostly seafood?
Yes. The ribeye was the only one of the only things that wasn't seafood as like a main. They also had fries, which are really delicious. But yes, everything else we ordered was raw fish. They are known for their like huge crab claws.
Oh, okay.
It's a special kind of crab. My husband would know. But yes, look on their Instagram and you'll see they're huge and beautiful, and they do something tableside with those.
So does the
So
dining room also have a beautiful view or only the rooftop?
the dining room is just inside the rooftop, so you can see, but it's just not as like breathtaking.
Like if you went back, would you book the rooftop or the dining room?
100% the rooftop.
Okay,
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah, the dining room is cute, but it's not like we went for the view and it delivered for sure. And it's right there by a marina yacht club. And so you get to see a lot of beautiful boats down there and boats coming and going, which we're boat people. So we really enjoyed that.
That people watching so fun too. You're like, who's on the yacht?
Yes, for sure. And we also had a speedboat tour that I can mention briefly.
Yeah, I love getting out on the water in Miami.
Yes.
So what'd you guys do?
It's been a few years ago, so I can't remember. I was able to pull up the name of the place. It was Speedboat Tours Miami. You can just Google that and find the website there. But that's how Kobe booked it. It was private. It was just me and Kobe and the captain.
How fun.
And it was like the size of the boat we take out on the lake, but it was like small and intimate that way. And so it was just our captain and us. And so we got to talk to him, and we boarded down by is it the Fontainebleau?
Yeah.
So further down South Beach. And we got on the boat there, and it was probably 2 hours maybe that he took us around the area there and pointed out, like, controversial now, but Sean Combs' house, J-Lo's house, all the places that she built here, she built there, and he told us all the stories about all the different celebrities and when they built the houses and where they are now, or there's some houses under construction that he points out. So that's really cool. But overall, we just love being on a boat and feeling like the wind in our hair. And I believe we were able to bring our own like little cooler. And so my husband drank his Miller Lights and I drank my White Claws.
Yep.
And just like lounged on the boat. It was so nice.
Yes, Joe and I love to try to get out on the water when we can. And there's usually like a ton of different options and price points. And we went the last time we were in Miami, we took something called Tropical Sailing at Miami, where that was more of like a group thing, but it was a catamaran and it was like a sunset cruise. I think it was called, the cruise was called Cast the Day Away. But you're just kind of relaxing. And like you said, there's other people you might like make small talk with and find out where they're from. They had some drinks on board and they kind of sailed you around while the sun was setting. So I would just recommend, I looked it up last night. It's still booking. It was like $69 a person, which isn't that bad at all to get out on the water and have a sunset cruise. But there were so many. So I feel like if you just go to TripAdvisor is a good place to look at this kind of stuff. There'll be like the top 20 boat cruises in Miami, and you can find one that fits your needs and that fits your price point. And it's just like, it's such a great way to see the city from the water and to just relax. And I highly recommend getting on the water if you're going to Miami.
You don't have to worry about traffic, because that's the other thing. When you're driving around Miami, there's just some crazy drivers. So this way you get to see all the things, but you just get to kick back with a cocktail.
Yes. The only other restaurant I'll mention, this is kind of random. We had to take an Uber to get to it because it was farther in the city, which let's talk shopping in a second. But the only other restaurant I'll add is Yardbird. This was the most memorable from our recent trip. It's like Southern, which it's funny because coming from Nashville, we have plenty of Southern fried chicken, but it is like a chicken and waffles type place. And it's a very kind of like rustic farmhouse feel when you walk in, like white subway tiles, like wooden stools. This is starting to sound a little dated, but like mason jar chandeliers, it's kind of the Nashville check the box restaurant vibe, but it's very, very good. They actually have Yardbird has locations in Vegas, Dallas, DC, Chicago, and Denver. And then there's one in Miami. It's like chicken and waffles, homemade biscuits and gravy with a crispy chicken thigh on the side, homemade hot honeys and jams to drizzle. It was a delicious brunch. So if anybody's looking for like a hearty, yummy brunch, Yardbird was very memorable to us and very delicious. And then speaking of kind of getting out of the South Beach area. There are some shopping areas like Wynwood Walls and Art District. You
Yes.
had mentioned that you guys walked around.
So have you been to Wynwood Walls?
Yes. Is this where there's all the murals that you can like take
Yes.
pictures in front of? Yes, I
Yes.
have
So
walked around.
I didn't notice any shopping around that area, but the experience in itself was worth the Uber ride to us. Admission was fairly reasonable because it's not coming up to me like, oh my gosh, it was so expensive. So it's a reasonable thing to do, and it took us an hour and a half maybe. But it's just they update it all the time. There are these beautiful murals by what's the word? Graffiti. A lot of it's graffiti art, but it's like incredible.
Yeah, I feel like
Um,
mural artist has almost become like its own job in and of itself.
Yeah, yeah. So, and it's ever changing. So we were told if we were to go back in a few months, they would have some new exhibits and some new stuff there. And then not only, so the exhibit, you like enter and you walk through, but then even around it, around the perimeter of that, the whole city around there has murals everywhere. Like, so it's really cool to see. We took pictures there a lot. Kobe really even enjoyed it. Which I'm usually the one who wants to see the art things, but he's not our art person typically, and he really enjoyed the experience. So a crowd pleaser for sure. So we went there, and then the place with the shopping, the Miami Design District. Yes, so that's all your upscale shopping, like designers that are not in my closet typically, that are really cool to just walk around and see. I had some money from my birthday gift from my husband that I had been saving, knowing that we were going on this trip. Because I watched Vanderpump Rules, Lala Kent had some sunglasses that I could not live without. And so I looked them up and they were reasonably enough price that I was like, I'm going to use my birthday money for that.
Yes.
So we built one evening around that to get the car, to drive into the city. There's some really easy parking at the museum there, the art museum. It was very cheap based on what I think it was like $10 or something.
Oh, yeah. That's like so cheap.
And it was easy to get to. Once we knew, I wish I would have known that beforehand because we did drive around for a while, like where are we supposed to park? Where are we supposed to park?
So parking garage at the art museum.
Yep. And there by the shopping district.
Okay, what were the sunglasses? We have to know what the sunglasses were.
They were Dolce and Gabbana sunglasses.
Awesome.
Yes. They're black and they have like a little clip-on visor, which is very extra and very neat.
Oh my gosh. I love it. You were like, we are renting a car, driving around and going to get these sunglasses.
Yeah. So we did. And then we went to Claw. So that was those things were all very close together. So that was fun to do the shopping district and then Claw.
Sounds like a perfect Miami night.
It was nice. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
I'm trying to think. Oh, morning walks on the Miami boardwalk. I did not mention this in a day at the one hotel, but that's one of the things we love doing in South Beach is waking up. You could do it in place with your gym if you wanted to, but we loved the gym enough that we did the gym and we did walks. That boardwalk it's great for people watching. So many runners, so many bikers, but still easy to navigate as a walker. People stay and on the right side and all that. But it's right there by the beach, and so it's so beautiful. And if you walk down far enough, I mean, like you're getting an hour walk there and back. From where we stayed, there is Muscle Beach. I don't know if you've heard about that, but it's like an outdoor workout experience. There's equipment there to do all your workout. And so the first time we stayed, we ran down that way, did our workout, and then walked back, which was really fun.
So cool.
Yeah.
Yes, that boardwalk is amazing. When I lived there, I would run it like every day, like what a dream. And then that is one of the reasons Joe loves a trip to Miami because he's a big runner. And just to be able to run that boardwalk, it is like a little windy. There's so many people running and rollerblading. And it just feels like Miami has this like health and party vibe kind of going at the same time, which is kind of cool. But yeah, if you get up early, there are tons of people out there walking and running, and you've got the ocean right there and people watching. It is just the best walking path.
I agree. And that was something I would add, because it is a party town. If you're a morning person like Kobe and I are, like to get up, and when I stayed there with my team, I would get up before my team and wake up at like 6 or 6:30, grab a coffee and walk. And it's really peaceful because there's not a whole lot of people out there. I felt safe because there was enough people around me, but a lot of people will sleep in because they didn't party in too late. So you still get that like peaceful, serene ocean walk with good people watching.
Yes. Okay, I end every podcast with if someone out there is listening and considering this trip, what is it about South Beach and the one hotel that would make you say, just book it?
Well, I was apprehensive to say this when I first wrote it down, but because you touched on it, I feel confirmed that it's what I'm supposed to say. So, as a woman or as a mom, I think every woman deserves a chance to feel unapologetically sexy. And for me, that's
Yes,
what Miami is. You can just
preach.
go pack whatever you want to wear to feel beautiful and lovely and like a movie star. And nobody cares because it's Miami and you can do that. So
Yes,
that's why you should book
preach. I love it.
it.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being here, Cam. This was so lovely. And now on this rainy day in Nashville, I want to go to South Beach.
Get me out of the rain and the cicadas, please.
We'll have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me to do this. I'm going to go subscribe now that you asked me at the beginning.
Yes, everyone else, hit subscribe so that you can catch the next few episodes. That wraps up another episode of Trip Tales. If you have a trip you'd like to share about on the podcast, email me at triptalespodcast@gmail.com and I'll add you to the schedule. Also, be sure to follow the show so that you don't miss any upcoming vacation destinations. And if you have an extra minute in your day, please leave a review for the podcast. It helps more than you could imagine. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next episode of Trip Tales. Hey guys, I wanted to quickly share about a cool way you can support the show. Travel content creating and podcasting is so fun. But as you travel lovers know, traveling can get expensive. While I may receive trades from time to time, the flights, the behind the scenes hours filming, editing, recording, and sharing are often unseen and unpaid. There is this super cool website called buymeacoffee.com that was created specifically as a way to support creators like me. Buying Me a Coffee is a quick and simple way to show your support for the Trip Tales podcast. And Lord knows this busy Mama 3 could use a coffee to keep me recording and sharing, and maybe help with the grocery bill as well. I'll also give a special shout out by name to anyone who buys me a coffee in the following week's episode. So if you love Trip Tales, I'll put the link in the show notes, or you can get there by visiting buymeacoffee.com/Kelsey Graves. Thank you for considering supporting the show.